Marcus Thompson's calloused hands trembled as he gripped the mop handle, watching his 8-year-old son Danny sprint across the basketball court during halftime of the school game. The gymnasium echoed with cheers, but all Marcus could hear was the thundering of his own heartbeat. 3 jobs, sleepless nights, and countless sacrifices had led to this moment. Watching his boy play the sport he loved more than anything in the world. What Marcus didn't know was that in the next 5 minutes, his quiet life of dignity and hard work would collide with arrogance in a way that would change everything. The Jefferson Elementary Gymnasium buzzed with Friday night energy as parents filled the bleachers, their voices creating a symphony of encouragement that bounced off the polished wooden floors. Marcus had just finished mopping the visitors' locker room and was preparing to clean the concession area when he heard his name called over the crowd noise. "Danny Thompson, you're doing great out there, buddy," he shouted, cupping his hands around his mouth as his son dribbled down the court in his slightly too big uniform. Danny's face lit up when he spotted his dad, that gap-toothed grin that made every 18-hour workday worth it. Marcus worked as the night janitor at Jefferson Elementary, but he also drove for a rideshare service during the day and stocked shelves at a grocery store on weekends. The 3 jobs barely covered rent, groceries, and Danny's basketball league fees. But seeing his son's joy made every sacrifice worthwhile. Coach Williams, the opposing team's coach, was a different story entirely. At 35, he drove a BMW, wore designer tracksuits, and never missed an opportunity to remind everyone that he'd once been recruited by a Division II college before a knee injury ended his dreams. His team, the Riverside Rockets, was undefeated, and Williams took every opportunity to lord it over the volunteer coaches and parents of smaller schools. "Timeout," Coach Williams called, his voice dripping with theatrical authority. During the break, he noticed Marcus in his janitor's uniform, quietly cheering from the sideline with his mop bucket nearby. "Excuse me," Williams called out, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet gymnasium. "You are the janitor. Could you move along? You're distracting my players with all that noise." The gym fell silent. Marcus felt every eye in the building turn toward him, his face burning with embarrassment. He'd been quietly supporting his son, nothing more. But Williams wasn't finished. "Actually, you know what?" Williams continued, a cruel smile playing at his lips. "Since you think you know so much about basketball, why don't you coach against me? 1 quarter, your kid's team versus mine. If you win, I'll donate $1,000 to your school. When you lose, you stay quiet and do your job." The challenge hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Parents murmured uncomfortably. Danny looked at his father with wide, trusting eyes. Marcus felt his hands shake, not from fear, but from a lifetime of being overlooked, dismissed, and treated as invisible. "I accept," Marcus said quietly, his voice steady despite the churning in his stomach. What Coach Williams didn't know, what nobody in the gymnasium knew, was that Marcus Thompson had been a point guard at State University 15 years ago, before Danny's mother died in a car accident and he dropped out to raise his infant son alone. Basketball had been his first language, but fatherhood became his calling. Marcus set down his mop and walked to the home team's huddle. The volunteer coach, Mrs. Peterson, gladly handed over the clipboard. 10, 8 and 9-year-olds looked up at him with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Listen up, team," Marcus said, kneeling to their eye level. "Coach Williams thinks we can't compete because we don't have fancy uniforms or expensive equipment. But you know what we have that his team doesn't?" "What, Mr. Thompson?" little Sarah Martinez asked. "Heart." And each other. Marcus looked at each child. "Danny, I want you running point." "Tommy, you're our center. Use that height." "Sarah, Lisa, you two are our secret weapons on defense." Everyone else, We play smart, we play together, and we remember that it doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you're going. The fourth quarter began with Riverside leading by 12 points. Williams smirked from the sideline, already planning his victory speech. But something magical began to happen. Marcus's team started moving like they'd been playing together for years. Danny's passes found their targets. Tommy's rebounds sparked fast breaks. Sarah and Lisa created steal after steal with scrappy defense. Most importantly, they played with pure joy, the kind that can only come from children who know they're unconditionally supported. With 2 minutes left, the home team had cut the lead to 3. The crowd was on its feet, no longer seeing a janitor coaching kids, but witnessing something beautiful and rare. Timeout, Riverside. Williams called, panic creeping into his voice. Marcus gathered his team, sweat beading on his forehead despite not having run a single play. You're doing amazing. One more push. Danny, remember what we practiced in the backyard? When they pressure you, look for the backdoor cut. The final minute was pure poetry. Danny executed a perfect backdoor pass to Tommy for a layup. Sarah stole an inbound pass and scored on a fast break. With 5 seconds left, the home team led by 1. Williams drew up a complex play during the timeout, diagramming multiple screens and cuts. But in his desperation, he'd forgotten the most important thing about coaching children: keep it simple. The inbound pass was deflected by alert defense. The ball bounced toward Danny, who grabbed it as the buzzer sounded. The gymnasium exploded. Parents rushed the court. Kids jumped and screamed with pure elation. In the chaos, Marcus felt a small hand slip into his. "Dad," Danny said, looking up with tears of happiness in his eyes. "You were amazing." But the real shock was still coming. As the celebration died down, Coach Williams approached Marcus, his face flushed with embarrassment and something else, a recognition. "You played," Williams said quietly. "Really played?" "College level." Marcus nodded. "State University. Point guard for 2 years before life changed my priorities." Williams was quiet for a long moment, watching his own players congratulate the home team with genuine sportsmanship. "I've been coaching for 8 years," he said finally. "I've never seen kids play with that much heart. That was real coaching." He reached into his jacket and pulled out his checkbook. $1,000 to Jefferson Elementary, as promised. He paused, then added, "And I owe you an apology. I saw a janitor and made assumptions. I should have seen a father supporting his son." Marcus accepted the apology with grace. But the real surprise came the following Monday. Principal Rodriguez called Marcus into her office with an unexpected proposition. "Marcus," she said, "our teacher is retiring mid-semester. Would you consider taking the position? I know you'd need to finish your degree, but we could work around your schedule. And frankly, what I saw Friday night was the best teaching I've witnessed in 20 years. 3 months later, Marcus Thompson stood in front of his own classroom for the first time in 15 years, teaching physical education and coaching the school's basketball team. Danny beamed from the front row of the gym, where he was helping demonstrate proper dribbling techniques to the kindergarten class. The story spread throughout the district, then the county, then nationwide when a parent's video of the game went viral. But for Marcus, the real victory wasn't the social media fame or the career change. It was the lesson his son learned that night: that dignity isn't determined by your job title, that respect is earned through character, and that sometimes the most important victories happen when you stand up for what's right, even when your hands are shaking and everyone is watching. Coach Williams became an unexpected friend, often seeking Marcus's advice on connecting with his players. Their rivalry transformed into a mentorship that benefited children throughout the league. As Marcus locked up the gymnasium after practice each evening, he would pause where he once stood with his mop, remembering the night that changed everything. It wasn't the job change or the recognition that mattered most. It was the moment he chose dignity over silence, love over fear, and showed his son that a parent's greatest gift isn't protection from life's challenges, but the courage to face them together. Danny Thompson grew up knowing that his father was a hero long before anyone else recognized it, and that sometimes the most powerful victories come not from proving others wrong, but from proving yourself right.